set.
Attention, there are flowers. Flowers have been delivered from a prisoner. So if anyone's expecting flowers from a prisoner, they're at the front.
This is You Don't Know Jack 2015. I'm your host, Cookie Masterson. And hey, wipe that smile off your face. This is serious. Okay, just kidding. There will be farts and stuff. 4 players? What happened? Could you not agree on a rental? There's your hardware. You can force another player to answer immediately by hitting your screw button. If they miss it, you win extra bonus dollars. And our wrong answer of the game is brought to you by
the San Francisco Otter Choir. Free concerts every Wednesday, except for mating season.
Find the wrong answer associated with our sponsor to get yourself some sweet prizes and bonus cash. And so it begins.
Get ready, time for question.
1. To begin with, Bootyful. Let's analyze one of Kim Kardashian's body parts. About what percentage of Kim Kardashian's brain is just made up of water? 10%, 40%, 80%, or 100%? Player 1. How do you say, no? Players 2, 3, and 4. Kim Kardashian's brain, and everybody else's brain for that matter, is made up of about 80% water. That other 20% is just so round and firm, I can't stop thinking about it.
Oh, Mama, gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. Tell you so.
Take a stab at his acting is alright. So, you know how they called Matthew McConaughey's resurgence as an actor his McConaissance? Well, if Matthew McConaughey is currently experiencing a McConaissance, then what period of his life just ended? The McCona Dark Ages? The McCona Industrial Age? The McCona Middle Ages? Or the McCona Enlightenment Age? Players 1, 3, and 4. All wrong. Player 2. The Renaissance first occurred in Italy in the late 14th century, immediately following the Middle Ages. So the McConaissance would follow the McCona Middle Ages. Which is funny because most Renaissance sculptures also need to put on a damn shirt.
Dance with me, Disco 3.
Here's one for you. Brought to you by the letter U-nibrow.
It's the put the choices into order, then buzz in and see if you are right. Question.
And if you get this one right, I'll rustle up some extra moolah for you. Arrange these Sesame Street characters in order of fewest to most eyebrows. Bert, Ernie, the Count. Ernie, Bert, the Count. Bert, Ernie, the Count. The Count, Bert, Ernie, or Ernie, the Count, Bert. Player 3, not much time left. Players 2 and 3. Players 1 and 4. The Count would be so disappointed. Were you thinking of this one? Ernie has no eyebrows at all, Bert has one long single eyebrow, and the Count has two eyebrows! And yet, none of them have ever blinked. I call this one Duck, Duck, Swan. Say the cast of Duck Dynasty attends a performance of Swan Lake and thinks there are real waterfowl on stage. In their confusion, which character would they most likely shoot? Siegfried, Benno, Von Roth? Oh, player 3, who's getting the screw job? Oh, you're screwed, player 1, you got 5 seconds. No. Superlative use of the screw, player 3. Grab a few more bucks, why don't you? Player 3. Players 2 and 4. Odette is a princess who has been turned into a swan, so the Duck Dynasty crew would probably fill her full of lead. Especially if they find out she once fooled around with a lady swan in college.
5 fingers!
This one's known as The Man in the Backwards Yellow Hat, and it's a dis or dat. Player 1. We gotta get you back in the game. Take a run at this dis or dat. I'm going to read off 7 things, and for each one you tell me if it's an alleged antic by pop star Justin Bieber, or an antic by the classic children's book character Curious George. If it's Justin Bieber, press the square button. If it's Curious George, press the circle button. The rest of you ought to pay attention. Lock in your answers before player 1, because if player 1 gets it wrong, everyone who got it right will split the cash. Cool, let's do it. Peed in a mop bucket. Broke his leg falling. Arrested for false. At the house. Got high on ether. Got a bugle to an ostrich. Went to a Brazilian brothel. Forget George, I'm curious how someone could do this badly. I think we can all agree that it's time for that little bastard to get deported. And then it's your turn, Bieber. We've finished round 1, and it looks like player 2 has the lead for now. Keep in mind, all the prizes are doubled in round 2. And remember, the wrong answer of the game is still out there waiting for you. Let's get back to the action. Here's a good one. Dumber and Dumberer 2. So, there's Dumb and Dumber, and then there was Dumb and Dumberer, and then Dumb and Dumber 2. Makes perfect sense. Now, going back a few decades, there was The Odd Couple and The Odd Couple 2. So, if another remake of The Odd Couple used the superlative adjective, it would be called The Blank Couple. Odd. Player 2, who gets the screw? Player 3, you're getting screwed. You got 5 seconds. What? No. Player 2, you handle that screw very well. Time to twist the knife. Players 1, 2, and 4. Odd is the adjective, odder is the comparative adjective, and oddest is the superlative adjective. But of course, everyone who made the original Odd Couple movies is dead, which means it's the perfect time for Rob Schneider to swoop in and revitalize the franchise.
Question 7. Get up and shake your monkey bang.
Try this on for size. Let it go, let it go, let it go. At which temperature would Olaf from the movie Frozen melt and die? 30 degrees. Player 1, who do you want to screw? Believe it, player 3, you're screwed. You got 5 seconds to answer. Oh man, time's up. Player 1, your screw worked out. Want a little more money? Player 4? You may not know how temperatures work. Players 1 and 2? 30 degrees is below freezing in Fahrenheit and insanely below freezing in Kelvin and Rankine. But it's pretty balmy in Celsius, about the equivalent of 86 degrees Fahrenheit. And I know, blah blah blah, he can magically be saved, but I'm talking about what would happen in the real world to a talking snowman.
Follow me down to the sea.
And now, Kangaroo, Peanut, Albert Einstein, or Uranus?
Kangaroo, Peanut, Albert Einstein, or Uranus.
first spotted in 1879? You got it, player 4. Pick someone to screw up. Player 2, you've been screwed. You got 5 seconds. Let this be a lesson to you. Player 4, you screw like a high-class hooker. Let's see if you can make this really hurt. Player 3? Nuh-uh. Players 1 and 4? No, I'll get this. Albert Einstein was first spotted in 1879, the year he was born. Probably by a midwife or something, over a century after Uranus was discovered and even longer after kangaroos and peanuts. I've heard baby Einstein cried a lot because he left behind some important equations on the uterine wall. Take a good look at wine or lose. If the Washington Redskins rebranded themselves with a non-offensive red-skinned mascot, what could they be called? The Washington Chardonnays, the Washington Malbecs, the Washington Pinot Blancs, or the Washington Rieslings? Player 4? Any last words? Too late. Player 1. Chardonnays, Pinot Blancs, and Rieslings are all white-skinned grapes, but the Malbec grape is red. Although to a connoisseur like myself, Malbec is very offensive. Oh yes, I do say that was quite a burn. Open wide for I Wanna Lick and Roll All Night. If Kiss singer Gene Simmons' tongue grew to the average length of an adult giraffe's, how deep into a woman's mouth could he stick it when he kissed her? About 5 inches deep, about 10 inches deep, about 20 inches deep, or about 30 inches? Player 1. An adult giraffe's tongue is on average about 18 to 20 inches long. So that's about how deep into a woman's mouth a giraffe-tongued Gene Simmons could stick it. And if Gene Simmons' neck grew to the length of an adult giraffe's, he may not even need women anymore. Step. I'm sorry, was I talking too much? Fine, here's your clue. Your house is made of what? What materials are their houses made from? Good luck. 4 is our winner! Player 4, I gotta be honest, I expected you to crash and burn. I'm kinda shocked that you won. Granted, it was pretty close, but looking at the 4 of you, you were definitely not the person I thought would win. And you know what? It takes a mighty big man to admit he was wrong. No, thank me.
You don't know Jack!
I am Cookie Masterson, and I shaved my nipples for this, so let's hurry before it grows back. Like, we need to get moving now. 4 players. That's surprising. You realize you don't win real cash, right? Everyone's got a nice little screw. If you think an opponent doesn't know the answer, hit your screw button, and you'll force them to answer immediately. If they miss it, you win big. And your wrong answer of the game is being sponsored by
Flavored eye drops. Why let your mouth have all the fun? Flavored eye drops.
If you happen to find our sponsor's wrong answer of the game, you'll be rewarded with big prizes and cash. Okay, it's time.
Get ready, time for question. 1.
Kicking things off, Eat, Pray, Die. Which of these Julia Roberts characters would Jack the Ripper have been most likely to savagely murder? Erin Brockovich, Vivian Ward, Tess Ocean, or Liz Gilbert? Player 4? Excuse me. Players 1 and 3? Player 2? Vivian Ward is the name of the prostitute Julia Roberts plays in Pretty Woman, and almost all of serial killer Jack the Ripper's alleged victims were female prostitutes, so he'd probably have just loved to murder her. I can see it now. He'd open the box with his knife in it, she'd reach in and he'd playfully shut it, snapping her fingers. She'd laugh, he'd laugh, then he'd kill her.
Oh, Mama, gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. Tell you so.
Pucker up for If I Only Had a Brain Trust. Suppose the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz faced off against the Wicked Witch of the West in a public debate. If he wanted to use a straw man argument against her, what might he do? Attack the player 1, who's gonna get it? You're screwed, player 3, 5 seconds to pick an answer. A straw man argument purposefully misrepresents an opponent's position in order to strike it down. Here's how I would debate the Wicked Witch. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the 2 candidates you see here tonight is a Wicked Witch. Thank you, I yield the rest of my time. Well, player 1, looks like your plan backfired.
Dance with me, Disco 3.
This one's called Getting Naughty, and this dis or dat leg's being tied up. Player 1, why don't you play this dis or dat and see if you can catch up? I'm gonna read off 7 names, and for each one you tell me if it's the name of a necktie knot or the name of a sex position recommended by Women's Health magazine. If it's a necktie knot, press the square button. If it's a sex position, press the circle button. Now, the rest of you need to hear this. Try to pick an answer before player 1. If player 1 gets it wrong, I'll split that cash among everyone else who got it right. Okay, we're off. The Half Windsor, the Victoria, the Prince Albert, the Four in Hand. It appears your score likes to be on bottom. My usual sex position is also the way I usually tie a tie, alone in front of a mirror. Coming up next, shop till everyone drops. Say at Christmas time, every single item at your local mall sells out. According to a popular Grimm fairy tale, which of these stores has the best chance to be magically stocked overnight by hardworking elves? Foot Locker, Radio Shack, Victoria's Secret, or Lens Crafters? Player 3, Players 1, 2, and 4. In the grim fairy tale, The Elves and the Cobbler, a poor shoemaker is given some much-needed help by elves who appear in the middle of the night. And while the shoemaker made a nice profit, the elves were trampled to death on Black Friday. Next, Okia Dokia. If you're driving between company headquarters, which trip should be the shortest? Player 3, where's that screw? The screw is in you, Player 2. 5 seconds to make a choice. Player 3, way to work that screw. Why not pick up a few more bucks? Players 3 and 4. Nobody picks that one. Player 1. Nokia is based in Finland, and IKEA is based right next door in Sweden. Kia is based in South Korea. Whether it's phones, furniture, or cars, if it's got Kia in the name, you know it's gonna be cheap. I mean inexpensive. Inexpensive! That brings a close to round 1, and player 2 is out in front. Let's see if they stay there. Remember, I'm doubling the value of each question in round 2. And let's see some screwing out there. You're being too nice. Say hello to... Muscle milk was a bad choice. Say the news team from the Anchorman films decides to run a relay race against a rival news team. If Ron Burgundy is his team's anchor, when will he run? Before Brick Bryan and... Player 4, where are you putting that screw? Player 2, you're screwed. You got 5 seconds to pick an answer. In a relay race, the anchor, usually the fastest runner, goes last. And they would probably promote the race so incessantly that by the time it actually took place, you wouldn't be that interested in seeing it anymore. Hey, Player 4, just be happy this isn't real life.
Question 7. Get up and shake your monkey bang.
Coming up, guess who's Dak? Dak again. You know, I'm not an optimist, but I have to say, I feel like things have been going pretty well with the game so far.
Son, Daddy forgot about me.
Oh no, my old ventriloquist puppet, Billy O'Brien.
One's made of skin, one's made of wood, so who's the dummy?
Not me.
Billy, the whole creative team here decided to not include you in this game because you're too much of a troublemaker.
Troublemaker? Me? No, I just got back from traveling the world, studying all the profound teachings of titular world spiritual leaders. For instance, which titular religious group was founded by someone with the last name of Smith? Protestants, Episcopalians, Trustitarians, or Nornuns?
Players 2, 3, and 4. Check, please. Player 1. The Mormon religion was founded in the 1800s by Joseph Smith.
In America.
So, which was your favorite religion you studied?
Well, I particularly like the ones that treats the doubt reincarnation. Someday, I hope to come back as a beautiful coffee table.
Follow me down to the sea.
Up next, Orcas 11. Say I wanted to go around freeing the killer whales from every SeaWorld location in the world. How many separate rescue missions would I need to go on? Alright, Player 2, let me know who's getting screwed. Believe it, Player 3, you're screwed. You got 5 seconds to answer. Player 2, way to screw, baby. You want even more cash? Player 1, interesting choice. Player 4, hate to disappoint you, but wait, no I don't. Player 2, there are 3 SeaWorlds, one in San Diego, one in San Antonio, and one in Orlando. So you would need to go on 3 separate rescue missions. Well, that sounds like a lot of traveling. Maybe I'll just pay that kid from Free Willy to do it. Something tells me he could use the cash. How about Kangaroo, Peanuts, Albert Einstein, or Uranus?
Kangaroo, Peanut, Albert Einstein, or Uranus.
The name of Jeff Dunham's purple-skinned puppet. Kangaroo, Peanuts, Albert Einstein, or Uranus? His name is Peanut. I have to admit, people who talk through ventriloquist puppets kind of creep me out.
That you talk through me.
Quiet, Billy. Stop trying to get me to kill people.
Whoa, now you're creeping me out, man.
May I introduce the Midnight Run to the Bathroom? According to Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, how would Paul Revere secretly signal to you that he has to pee in the sea? I have to do a number 1 in a 1. I have to do a number 1 in a 2. I have to do a number 1 in a 3. Or, I have to do a number 2 in a 1. Player 4. Players 1, 2, and 3. According to Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's poem, Paul Revere's Ride, Paul's signal for the British was 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. And as we all know, a number 1 is a P. And Americans would have known about the British sooner if he hadn't stopped for a number 4. You don't even want to know what that is. Welcome to the attack. Well, don't mind me then. Here's your clue. This plus this equals that. What new thing do these combine to make? Good luck.
Bonjour, and welcome to Lie Swatter, the massive true or false trivia game. We can accommodate a huge number of players in a game. The more, the merrier. All right then, before we get started, don't forget, new players can go to this website and enter this room code to join the game at any time. Let's play. You're going to see 7 crazy facts pulled from the following fact categories. Drained cantaloupes were used as balls in the first ever basketball game. Use your device to pick whether you think the fact is true or a lie.
Wow.
3 out of every 5 Finnish people dye their hair blonde. Generalissimo Franco kept the hand of a dead saint next to his bed. Babe Ruth once punched an umpire in the middle of a game. There was never an actual Jamaican bobsled team. Mexico City has more Starbucks than any other city in the world. The U.S. Army had a camel corps stationed in Texas during the mid-1800s. And here's where everyone stands at the end of round 1. Here are your new fact categories. Gina Davis wrote for a season of SNL. The Sierra Club holds patents for several bulldozer designs. Jonathan Taylor Thomas went to grad school in Norway. The most pirated video game in 1990 was Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego. The British Navy has a fleet of yellow submarines. As a morning ritual, Calvin Coolidge liked to have Vaseline rubbed on his head. Scarlet was originally named Pansy in the book. Here are your scores. For the final round, all the facts will be about one category. That category is coincidences. Check out these facts about coincidences and try to guess which are real and which are lies. The most tornadoes in recorded history occurred the year The Wizard of Oz came out. David Letterman and Jay Leno had the same first-grade teacher. Buzz Aldrin's mother's maiden name was Moon. Three of the first 5 U.S. presidents died on the 4th of July. Thomas Jefferson and Napoleon were stabbed by the same man. David Blaine found David Copperfield's wallet on a park bench. John Wilkes Booth's brother saved the life of Abraham Lincoln's son. Let's see the final scores.
Bye.